Hey there, friendlies, how's up? Welcome to another episode in my irregular shop talk series. This time we're going to be discussing marking gauges. So, hang out with me, okay? Hell yeah! Tonight's beer is a honey brown by Brasseur du Monde, which is in St. Hyacinthe, Quebec. It's called, what the hell is it called? Nectarius. And it's a big old hit of honey, but it's not cloying. It's not too powerful. Let's see. We got what is 500 mils, and it's slightly strong for a Canadian beer. It's 6.5%. So it's not like a really high octane one, but you know, most Canadian beer is like 5 or 5.5%. It is very tasty, and I'm going to be sad when it's done. So to start with tonight, this is a marking gauge. Specifically, this is a Mortis marking gauge. This is sold by Lee Valley Tools for like $61 Canadian. Lee Valley, by the way, sells across the world, so wherever you may be, you can get one. It's a very nice piece. It was made in Sheffield, England by Crown Tools. Brass and I believe rosewood, or some kind of hardwood anyway, throughout. No plastic. And the way it works is, well, it's got two sides. This side here is a straight up marking gauge. Works the way they all do. The other side is where the mortising action happens. And how you do that is, this works the way they all do, right? If you're using this side, it's, you know, straight up. You set it, you tighten it, zip. This side, though, you loosen it to, you know, move it around, but also you can set the pins for the mortise you want to set by just adjusting this piece here. So you would set the width of the mortise you want, and set the space between the mortise and the edge, and then you tighten it up. As I said, this is the standard one. Lee Valley also sells a deluxe one for like 94 Canadian dollars, and the big difference there is you get a thumb screw here, so that when you're loosening everything up and you're moving stuff around, you get a much finer control over the mortise. It's a much better solution, but $61 to 94, yeesh. So I bought this one. Now, the day after I bought this, my dad surprised me with this. Now what this is a marking gauge. It is a mortise marking gauge with the thumb screw. Now, there are a couple of cool things about this. The first cool thing about this is that it came with a note saying, "Dear Jess, here is my grandfather's marking gauge," which means that this is fairly old. His grandfather probably retired sometime in the 70s, so I have no idea how old this is. Made in England by Marples, also all brass and rosewood. And the other cool thing about this is that it works the way the deluxe one of these works, and I didn't have to spend like $100 on it. You loosen the top, again, straight up marking gauge, mortise marking gauge. You do that adjustment, but for these two pins here, you use the thumb screw to set your space, right? And then once you got that squared away, then you sort of do your measurement for the edge, tighten it down, zip. Same measurement every time. Interesting thing about these marking gauges, though, both of these have like the pins on them, you know, the sharpened pins. What I have here is a Lee Valley, or Veritas, I think it's Veritas, marking gauge that it has several options. One of which is like a tiny little razor blade, one of which is a pin. What I have on it right now is there's a wheel option. Now, the way these guys with the blades on them work is that the blade is kind of chisel ground. This marker is terrible, but you get the concept, right? So that the way it cuts, you end up with this. Okay, here's your surface. Whereas with these pins, right? Pins are shaped like this. This is terrible, guys. I'm sorry, but right? So you end up with more of a line like this. Now, here's your pencil line, and here's your pencil line, okay? Like, or your knife line, you know, your marking knife line. So which of these do you think is going to be more exact? Which line should you be cutting to? This, right? This empty space, or this? Well, obviously, that's going to do you much, much better when it comes to exact measurements and stuff. The pin will always, always, always leave you with just a little bit of space off the line. For a lot of stuff, that doesn't make a big difference. And honestly, traditionalists have been using these little spikies for eons, so it's not a big deal. But if you're the type who goes like for, you know, uber accuracy, then something with these little blades on it is probably the way to go. However, I'm just fine with these spikies, and I am thrilled to have this because I'm not one of these guys who has a lot of his grandfather's tools or his father's tools. You know, this is the first one. I'm the ripe old age of 47, and I have the first of my father's or grandfather's tools. Like, my dad has sent me a couple of things, actually. Let's not be bombastic. You know, he gave me this adze that he used to use when he was carving a lot more than he does now, and a couple of gouges. So, you know, I'm not completely without stuff. But something like this is different, because this is something that's, you know, been around forever in my family, and I'm just thrilled to have it. So I'm looking forward to getting it into action. And I guess that's all. I just wanted to show you guys this marking gauge, you know, and talk a little bit about them, because I haven't used them for all that long. I use them a lot now, but it wasn't something that I've been using for like 20 years or anything like that. And every time I use a marking gauge, I think, man, why wasn't I doing this like years ago? Well, because I wasn't doing that much woodwork years ago. I can't stop looking at it. Look at that. It's in such good condition, too. I mean, it's got a little dingy and stuff because it's been used. That's not going to come into focus, is it? Boom. Yeah. There we go. Looky-da. Looky-da. So, that's all she wrote. Thanks for hanging out with me for this little shop talk episode. As I always say, if you like what I'm doing, then please get the conversation started down below. This week, what I'd like to know is, yeah, do you have any like family heirloom tools? If you do, I'm very envious of you, because as I said, this is my first one. Do you have like grandpa's favorite axe or dad's favorite hammer or something? If you don't, let me know as well, because then I won't feel so lonely in this. Aside from that, share the video. It helps me more than you could possibly imagine. Aside from that, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you are subscribed, then hit that little bell and leave me a smiley thumb. If you don't like what I'm doing, leave me a frowny thumb. Thanks for watching, guys.